Sorry about that, guys. Something crashed. How is everyone? Right, sorry about this, guys. Nightmare. Technology. Hate it. Hey, guys, so sorry. So, if you get a double share and wonder why, because it's just been one of those nights, and it's Saturday, and it's boring. So I'm just going to share this out, guys. People are going to be like, why are you back? I do apologise, guys. I had a wee bit of trouble with the laptop. So I'm just going to obviously share this out, guys. People are going to be like, what the hell? I do apologise, guys, sincerely. Everybody knows what it's like with technology. And everybody knows I'm crap with technology. Hey. I'm so sorry, technology, blame it, I hate it. I'm just sharing it, guys, just sharing out. How is everybody anyway? I probably need a bottle after this, but never mind. So I'll just share it out, guys. If you could like and share this out, shut up, you cheeky pain in the ass. And I'm going to share out obviously on Facebook, guys. So we'll start this again since I'm going to have to do it all over again. 2 minutes, guys, and I'll share this out. Our lives are just pain in the asses. Right, sorry, guys, to share this out. Why am I sharing that to that? Right, I'm just sharing this out, guys, and then I'll be with you. Now, as you know, I'm going to talk about Harold Shipman. He was the most prolific serial killer in modern history. Now, this man was well respected among his peers. Oh, come on. Oh, no, this is not what I want. It keeps freezing. I do apologise if I'm freezing, guys. I will try and do the best with the show and hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. All I can do is try because it's been a pain in the butt. A right royally pain in the butt. So Harold Shipman was considered the most prolific serial killer. It's my age. Shut your face. Telling me it's my age, guys. I don't think so. I'm still a young pup. No matter what people think. Sorry. Hey, Steve. Long time no see. Now, Harold Shipman was often referred to obviously the Doctor of Death, and he must have killed quite a lot. Now, the numbers are no sure, obviously because they too much traffic on your Timu Wi-Fi. Do you know what? I actually do believe that is. Hey Nicola, how you doing? Welcome in. So he worked as a family doctor in the West of Yorkshire, and later he went to Hyde in Greater Manchester. Now patients generally viewed him as a respected and caring doctor, which that was the first sign that he was digging my what? Poundland Wi-Fi. Shut up! Stop talking about my Wi-Fi, dickheads. which allowed him to gain their trust over many years. So people trusted him, people respected him a lot, and to this day, people still debate, did Shipman really do this? Because there's still people in denial that he dinged my cheek. What do you mean, cheeky? I don't even see your cheek. Me, like Aldi Cola. I'm going to batter you, dickhead. No, Steve, it's not come up. And if it was freezing, you would. Right, you, I'm going to slap you, Steve. So, you fucking asshole. Yeah, boy. So, obviously, his crimes, authorities ultimately convicted Shipman in 2000 in murdering 15 patients, forging one victim's will. Now, there's hatred, there's honestly believed that there's more victims out there. Now, they're saying that it could be 215 or 250. Now, most of these victims were elderly women, though some men were also killed. Oh, come on. I've got restricted on my live, so I don't know if you guys will be able to hear me on my live. I don't know what I've got a restriction for, but apparently I've got a restriction for 10 minutes. I don't know if I've violated standards, so I do apologise. I love TikTok Shop. Maybe that can help since I've got a restriction. So elderly victims, though through some men, were also unalived. Patients that was under his medical care. Now, they were killed by lethal injections of diamorphine. Diamorphine is literally the medical grade of heroin. Oh, you can hear me and still gift. Right, that's fine. It's because I've got a restriction for 10 minutes. I don't even know why they were giving me a restriction. Maybe I said something I shouldn't have. And I do apologise, TikTok. Now, after the deaths, he often certified the deaths himself as being due to natural causes or old age. Now, that helped most of crimes remain undetected for years. It probably is, Wayne. I think that's my first one that I've ever had. Thank you for the heart me's, guys. So Shipman's crimes actually came to light in 1998 after there was several factors raised suspicion. Now there was an unusual high number of deaths. These patients. Funeral directors noticed an abnormal pattern in unalived. I love TikTok Shop. A local doctor expressed concerns, and then eventually police. Yeah, I've got it set to 18. Plus, always do, always do. So I don't know. It's a way anyway. My restriction. I didn't do anything too out of badness. So police eventually investigated and exhumed the victims. Evidence of forged medical records and will help the case. Now, in January 2000, Shipman was found guilty at trial and sentenced to 15 life sentences, with a recommendation this gentleman had never to be released. Now, that's had an impact now on healthcare, as everybody knows. The case had there was changes, stronger monitoring of death certificates, changes to the role of coroners, a better oversight of controlled drugs, and there was improved systems for identifying unusual. Hey Noreen, hey love, how you doing? For obviously patterns amongst doctors. Now, the Shipman case remains one of the significant cases in British history because it exposed weaknesses in medical oversight. and it prompted widespread reforms designs to better pass to protect, obviously, the patients. Now, what would drive a man of his status to kill so many patients? They've gave a few ideas what it could be. It could be the fact that obviously he witnessed his mum dying, could be revenge, could be the fact that he likes killing his patients. People sharing. Ah, right, is that what it is? Oh dear. That's the first restriction I've ever had. Hey Yogi, is that bed restraint satisfying? Of course, don't tell Andy. Hey, thanks Yogi, hope you're well, honey. So this was a 2-year long inquiry, folks, into the investigations of all the deaths certified by Shipman. Now, it was chaired by Dame Janet Smith, and she went through and examined all Shipman's crimes, and it was actually revealed that Shipman targeted vulnerable elderly patients. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just about to kill 2 of them. You're right. I'm no biting, love. I'm no biting. I don't bite anymore because I ken what you're like. You wind up merchant. So it was revealed that Shipman targeted elderly people who trusted them as their dog. Now he killed them with a fatal dose of drugs or prescribing an abnormal amount. Now, as of 2026, he's became known as Dr. Death or the Angel of Death. Now, he's the only British doctor to have been convicted of murdering his own patients. Though doctors have been acquitted of similar cases, Shipman's actually the first one to ever be done for it. Now, you remember the nurse guys? Well, there's actually 2 nurses, the Beverly one and Lucy Letby. Now, obviously, this questions medical care. Now, Beverly would obviously kill babies, and then obviously some she would harm. Now, and Lucy Letby, well, there's a big question mark right there whether she actually done all that. Even though they found evidence, kinda, there is that big question: did she really do it? Now, Noreen says, I remember a time when you didn't question your doctor, so it's easy to see how people were manipulated. Yeah, of course. If Dr. Shipman was your doctor, right, and you thought highly of him, you're not going to think whatever is a bad thing. You're just going to accept what doctors say. You don't question, or should that doctor being our elderly people wouldn't question them dying? Definitely not, because he was manipulating them. So with personal life, it's thick off. Now, 1946, in Nottingham. Now, he was the second of 3 children. Shipman. Now, this brings me back to my point of mothers who are close to their son, because he was close to his mother and he witnessed her dying. He actually witnessed the doctor giving his mother morphine to obviously help the pain, because when you are at that stage in life, you really do need obviously morphine. My doctor told me, Yogi says, my doctor told me I need a prostate exam. He didn't even buy me dinner, he went straight. My doctor, Steve says, my doctor's about 24 and resembles a pole dancer. The chocolate tasted odd and I had a sore ass. See what I've got to put up with, guys. So Shipman was obviously close to his mum, so obviously that became his MO. On the 5th of November 1966, he married his wife Primrose, who actually stood by Shipman, no matter what, till he hung himself, obviously. Hey, honey, how are you? Welcome in, Martin. So he married Primrose. They had 4 children. Now, Shipman went to the Leeds School of Medicine in 1970, and he was better known to his acquaintances as Fred Shipman. So nobody called him really Harold. They just called him Fred. Now, his career, he worked in Yorkshire in 1974. And he was actually caught forging prescriptions at that time, guys. A drug that was for his own use. So he was fined £600, and he went into rehab, saying that I remember you offered me a bunt pizza that may have not been. I've never cooked for you, shithead. So obviously, he was then he moved to Greater Manchester. Martin says, can't stay long. Need a shower and I have to put my back out. Oh, hope you're okay, Martin. So obviously, he went somewhere else. I don't burn pizzas anymore, you cheeky bass. So obviously, he went to hide in Greater Manchester in 1977 to start a whole new life where no one knew him. So he continued to work as a GP and hide throughout the 1980s, and everybody loved him. Everybody loved him. He even got on the TV talking about how mentally ill people should be treated in the community. Now, obviously, that was broadcasted again Tonight with Trevor McDonald. Noreen says, when my mother was in hospital, two junior doctors nearly killed my mum, and I stood thinking that's not right. What they're doing after that, I never hesitated to voice. Do you know what? I'm very much the same, Noreen. I'm very much if I know it's wrong, I'll tell you. No, you don't burn them. I heard you cremate them. I do not cremate pizzas, Martin. Do not listen to Steve. Can I burn a pizza in the microwave? Yogi says, I'm glad you all love the pizza more than Harold Shipman. So, the detection of murder in March 1998, Linda Royals, a general practitioner at Brooks Surgery in Hyde, expressed concerns to a coroner in the South Manchester district about the high number of death rates among Shipman's patients. Now, in particular, she was concerned about the large number of cremation forms for people who were elderly. It was oven cooked cheese and Haribo. Do you know I'm getting it from both sides here the night? So then what happened, guys, was so obviously the Shipman inquiry later blamed the GMP for assisting experienced officers to the case. Now, after the investigation was closed, Shipman then went on to kill 3 more people. So he was still getting away with this, guys, while they were conferring between the police, between the coroner, between the doctors who were all concerned. Now, they actually went for a meeting in a pub so they could discuss the concerns they had about Shipman. You're doing well not laughing to be fair. I know I'm trying not to laugh, you bugger. I'm trying to be serious. So they were discussing it in a pub, obviously talking about the amount that Shipman had unalived, and why was these rates going up as much as what they did. Now, obviously, then what happened was they took it to the police, and the police finally done something about it. But the sad reality is Shipman actually killed 3 people while this was going on. So I think that in itself shocking, because you're expecting your doctor, the one that you suspect is murdering patients, why no there then grab him when you've got him? Why let him then go on to kill more 3 people? So that's just the questions that I would have. A few months later, a taxi driver actually told the police that he suspected Shipman of murdering 21 patients. Now, Shaw became suspicious as many of the elderly customers that he was taking to the hospital in good health seemingly died. They turned up dead. So Shipman's last victim, as we know, was a mayoress who was found dead at her home on 24th of June 1998. Sorry, I love TikTok shop, unalived. I keep forgetting that word. Now, he was the last person to see her alive. He later signed her death certificate and recorded it as old age. Noreen says there was a lot of missed opportunities for Shipman to be uncovered, but it's a tricky situation, accusing a doctor without concrete evidence that can't be explained away. It's a practice where there was a lot of ass covering, definitely without a shadow of doubt. And that's what I find a bit ironic, guys, is that while they were doing that, as you're saying, Noreen, there was so many missed opportunities where they could have got him. And they just didn't. And I think it's so sad, and I feel really sorry, because I question, see if they had the concerns and they did take him in, that would have stopped him killing the 3 people. The 3 people then would have needed to be unalived. So it just shows you. Now, the daughter of the mayoress became concerned when another lawyer informed her that her will, this lady's will, had been made out to Shipman. 386,000, sorry, to Shipman. It was going to Shipman. Now, who would actually do that, guys? Who would actually leave their doctor a will? Now, unless, of course, you didn't have children and you didn't know where to put the money, suppose that one's plausible. But if you've got family, why would you then do that? Especially, obviously, you've got family. Noreen says, I don't think anybody wants to believe that a doctor would be capable of something like that. Noreen, to this day, they actually still question if Shipman was innocent. They actually did. They are, because he was so well liked, he was so trusted. Honestly, they were baffled. And I think it's really, really sad case, a really, really sad case. So they began investigating this body, and they found diamorphine in this lady's system. Now, Shipman claimed that this lady had become addicted and showed them the comments he'd written to the effect that this man was making up his own care plan and making up notes that he was a smiling assassin. Exactly. And the thing that really gets me is how no one noticed. Now, Shipman was arrested on the 7th of September and was found to own the typewriter, the typewriter that was used to forge the will. Now, there was a book written in 2000 suggesting that Shipman forged that will either because he felt his life was out of control and he wanted to be caught, or because he planned to retire at 55 and leave the United Kingdom. Now, police have investigated other deaths that Shipman had certified and investigated 15 specimen cases. They discovered a pattern of his administration lethal doses of diamorphine. He's signing the death certificates. He's falsified medical records. You name it. This is what this gentleman was doing. Now, there was actually a younger person there that he killed. That was a lady, and if I remember her age off the top of my mind, she was in her 50s. I'll just say she was in her 50s. Now, Noreen says it shows that the administration of drug system at the time was really lacking. Red flags should have been seen long before. Noreen, I think they were very, very lax back then in the 90s. They just didn't. How can I describe this to you guys? It's not that they didn't care, but they didn't feel like they needed that level of monitoring. Now, Shipman was well respected. No one's got to suspect him. Is people are, as I said, but I just don't know how you don't suspect after a certain amount of deaths to say, wait now, there's something not quite right here. But then you ask yourself, if at that time that they did suspect and they got him a lot earlier, would that have saved other women? It's one of the questions. Noreen says, but then I suppose it's hard to argue with a doctor that a patient doesn't need pain relief. It really, really is, because you get some nice doctors, but you get some really arrogant doctors. And I think Dr. Shipman got cocky, and that's how he got caught, because he was becoming complacent. He thought, nobody's got to suspect me, blah, blah, blah. Everything's got to be above board. And obviously, he's killed them. Now, in 2003, 3 years after Shipman had been convicted, David's, I'm not going to even say his second name, and others found that Shipman's mortality rates had been broadly in line with national rates between 1988 and 1994. Hey. So, obviously, there was alarm being raised at the end of 1996, though before that he'd already killed 67 people. Shipman was obviously female patients aged over 65 before reaching 119 in 1998 when suspicion was actually found. Hey, Yogi. So it just shows you. Now, his trial began at Preston Crown Court on the 5th of October 1999. He was charged with the murders of 15 women by lethal injection. Now, all these ladies were 81, 67, 77, 59. So that lady was actually 59. His youngest was actually 59, guys. Oh, sorry, no, 49 was his youngest. It just shows you. So I would say for 49, it ranges for 49 to about 81, guys, that these ladies' ages were. It's often talked away the high amount of deaths in that category. Sorry, Noreen. Has this been between TikTok and my computer tonight? We're having great fun. That's it. So sorry about that, Noreen. I was often talked away the high amount of deaths in that category as they're elderly of potential life-threatening conditions. To start with so high death rates could be explained away. Certainly, I do agree with that, Noreen. Is TikTok still freezing? Let me know, guys, if it is. So I'm having a great night, guys. But hey, the positive thing is, people are here and listening, so that doesn't bother me. All good, thank you very much, Wayne. So Shipman tried his legal unsuccessfully. to try and get the will, the fact that he had done the will and forged the will, they tried to get off his charge. Now, on 31st of January 2000, after 6 days, the jury found Shipman guilty of murder, 15 counts of murder, and sentenced him to 15 life sentences, guys. On the February the 11th, 11 days after his conviction, Shipman was then struck off by the authorities, the GMC. Now, 2 years later, the Home Secretary confirmed the judge's whole life sentence just months before British government ministers lost their power to set minimum terms for prisoners, while authorities could bring many additional charges. They concluded that a fair hearing would be impossible given the enormous publicity surrounding the original trial. So, furthermore, the 15 life sentences was still there. Now, Shipman became friends with serial killer Peter Moore while in prison. Shipman denied his guilt even to that day. He had said he wasn't guilty, even though there was scientific evidence to prove what he'd done. He never made any public statements about his actions. His wife even maintained he wasn't guilty, even after his conviction. Now, there's so much evidence, guys, to suggest that he had killed these patients, unalived these patients. Sorry, I keep forgetting. I love TikTok shop. So there's scientific evidence, and the wife doesn't believe it. The wife thinks he didn't do it. He maintained he wasn't guilty. Now, Shipman is the only doctor in the history of British medicine found guilty of murdering his patients. There was another guy, John Adams, who was charged in 1957 with murdering patients. He'd killed dozens more than a 10-year period. And possibly that could have been the reason why Shipman done it, was because he had obviously found this interesting and the MO interesting for Adams. But he was acquitted. This gentleman was acquitted and no further charges were pursued. Now, the historian Pamela Curt argued that because of Adams' acquittal, there was no flaws in the British legal systems until Shipman's case. Noreen says, even for the ones he didn't kill, it must be torture for any relative of any patient it has. You would always be wondering if he did it or didn't. Noreen, to this day, believe it or not, guys, this is actually still in discussion and Hyde, that did he do it? Didn't he do it? And to this day, there is actual people out there, because I've seen documentaries, that still believe that Shipman's innocent and it was a miscarriage of justice, even though there's scientific evidence to prove he had injected people with diamorphine. Now, Shipman had... Oh, right, how do I say this without getting TikTok? Shipman unalived in his cell at the HM prison, Wakefield, on 2004, the day before his 58th birthday. Some of the victims' families said they felt cheated, as Shipman's suicide meant they would never have the satisfaction of a confession or any answers to why he'd done what he did. Now, the Home Secretary admitted that celebration was tempting, but everybody's still upset at really what he'd done. Now, Shipman's death divided national newspapers. You had the Daily Mail, who branded him a coward and condemned the prison service for allowing him to do what he did, how to unalive himself. However, the Sun ran the paper Ship Ship Hooray. The Independent called for an inquiry into Shipman's unalive to look more widely at the state of prisons in the UK, as well as welfare of inmates. The Guardian done an article on a general who formerly served in Her Majesty's Inspector of Prisons and suggested the whole life sentence be replaced by indefinite sentencing, for this would at least give prisoners the hope and eventual release and reduce the risk of life of them taking their own life, as well as making their management easy for prison officers. He obviously did kill some, but even the ones were there was no proof. You would always be wondering if your relatives were one of the unfortunate ones and something has been missed. I wouldn't be surprised knowing if there is. Because remember, this man wasn't doing autopsies. He was just saying the unalived due to old age or natural causes. Now, people are just got to take the word of what a doctor says. And so I do believe, even though they say 250, I think there's a quite a higher chance that there could be more. Now, obviously, the motive to why Shipman done what he did to himself was to ensure that his wife, financial system, financial security was looked after. So she received actually his full NS pension, and she got a lot. She actually got a lot out of Shipman's unaliving. Now, additionally, there was evidence that Primrose consistently protested his innocence. Even though, guys, we all know he did do it, she was still convinced he hadn't. Shipman's innocence, despite the overwhelming evidence, had begun to suspect his guilt. Shipman refused to take part in courses which would have encouraged acknowledgement of his crimes. This then led to him having no privileges in the prison. During this period, Shipman's cellmate received a letter from Primrose, "Tell me everything, no matter what." Now, there was an inquiry into Shipman's unaliving, but that came out with procedures should nevertheless be re-examined. It is frightening, Noreen. Noreen says it's frightening. You're putting your life in their hands, and if you have no one to speak up for you, then you have no choice. And that's because many of these patients who he looked after probably didn't have any family. That is the sad reality. Now, after Shipman's body was released to his family, he remained in Sheffield for more than a year. His widow was advised by police against burying him in case the grave was attacked. Now, the body was cremated and it was only attended by 4 people. Now, the aftermath is that, they look at the healthcare system. The healthcare system, now, the people who signed, right, you might not actually know this, guys, right? But the people who actually signed the death certificates actually got charged as well for misconduct on the grounds that they should have noticed the patterns between Shipman's home visits and his patients unaliving. They were all found not guilty. In October 2005, the GMC found 2 doctors who worked at the General Hospital in 1994 were guilty more of serious professional conduct and for giving misleading evidence in the Shipman trial. So there was recommendations that there had to be changes in the structure of the GMC. In 2005, actually, guys, it came to light that Shipman may have stole jewellery from his victims. In 1998, police had seized over 10,000 guys worth of jewellery they found in his garage. Now, in March 2005, when Primrose asked for its return, police wrote to the families of Shipman's victims, asking them to identify the jewellery. Now, unidentified items were then handed to the Assets Recovery Agency. Now, there was you would think, oh my God. Now, there is a memorial garden to Shipman's victims, called the Garden of Tranquility. That was opened in 2005. As early as 2009, families over 200 of the victims were seeking compensation for the loss of their relatives. In September 2009, letters Shipman wrote in prison to friends were to be sold at auction, but following complaints from victims, relatives, the media, the sale was withdrawn. I mean, can you imagine, right? Honestly, selling the letters in auction. How didn't you see the documentaries, to be fair, on Netflix, when you look at, the confession tapes of Bundy, Dahmer, Gacy? I mean, Dahmer, right, I'm going to speak about this one. When Dahmer came out, honestly, everybody in Halloween, some people were dressing up as Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween. And it was mind-blowing. Nori says, even in this day and age, a lot of elderly patients are offered prematurely legal. There's a system called the Liverpool Pathway that facilitates this. Can I talk? And I can feel my voice going as well, guys. That's the fun part. When my voice goes and I sound like really squeaky. Now, the forums needed for a cremation in England and Wales have their questions altered as a direct result of Shipman's case. For example, the person organising the funeral must answer, do you know or suspect that the death of the person who's unalive was violent or unnatural? Do you consider there should be a further examination of the remains of that person who has died? As the first Hey everybody that's coming in. As the 1st of December 23, Shipman was also nicknamed the Angel of Death, as I told you. But you look at similar cases, right? You have got the Lucy Letby case, and you've got Colin Norris one as well. And Bev, I can't pronounce her second name, but she was laughing at your squeaky voice. Leave me alone. I've had this since I fell out and I raised my voice too high. So I've been struggling with my voice since. So I've got to go back to the EMTs. The EMTs, that's American. Sorry, the ENTs, sorry. So there is obviously other people who's been convicted, like Colin Norris, Lucy Letby, Hat Beverley. Now, obviously, I will do shows in them separate, and I'll actually give you a well-known fact. I was actually writing to Colin Norris for a while. Now, I try not to give my personal opinion when I'm doing my crime show, right, guys? But I really do believe that Colin Norris is innocent. The same as I believe that Luke Mitchell is innocent as well, guys. So I try not to give my opinions, and I try not to be, how can I say it? Try not to be personal, if that makes sense. But I will be looking at the healthcare and looking at the people who have been convicted of serious crimes, guys. Now, you can imagine the documentaries that Shipman has had. You just look at the crimes that shook Britain. It was on season 4, episode 12 of World's Most Evil Killers. There's other documentaries, guys, that you can watch about Shipman, and it just makes you question your, hey lovey, it just makes you question Why would he do that? Now, there's other ones who have said they've saved my mother, no, my mother, but they've saved their mother from killer GP Harold Shipman, because obviously her mother was 64 at that time, and she said he intended to give her mum medication, and asked the daughter to leave the room. However, the daughter said no, because she felt there's something not right about Shipman. Thank you very much, love. Thank you. I do try and make it interesting. There was something just not right with him. And he went to give her mum medication, and the daughter refused it. The daughter said, nope, 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 I am not taking that. My mum asked why, and I said, can't you see he's no good? He fobs people off with telling different stories. So that's even bad that somebody's daughter knew had suspicions over this gentleman. Now, Miss Powell said that true crime is really interesting, and serial killers are as well. She told Shipman, I'm sorry, I'm not leaving, and he eventually wrote a prescription before the pair left unharmed. Whatever he wanted to do backfired on him because the daughter was there. Now, Shipman was thought to have flown under the radar for so long, but nobody in the surgery wanted to listen to this daughter's cries that Shipman, there was something dodgy about Shipman, and she got ignored. They thought he was so wonderful. She said her mother only died recently, and she was happy to have all the years with her, because I took her away from him. However, it wasn't fair on all the others that got murdered, and she actually doesn't trust doctors anymore. Now that just shows you, folks, that who can you trust? If you don't trust your doctor, who do you trust? Now, many people in Hyde was part of Shipman's practice and obviously used his systems. Now, there's other people who've come out and said that they've beaten him and he dismissed her. He said if everyone came to me with a rash, they're having me surgery, because somebody went with a rash, and I don't even trust myself. Well, if you don't trust yourself, then that's a big issue, my man. The 61-year-old said she left thinking he was a horrible person, and she actually discovered that she knew some of his victims. So it just shows you guys that it's a terrible. I know you're a good egg. I'm only kidding you on. But it just shows you guys that in the healthcare system there has been a lot of changes with what Shipman done. So who can you trust then if you don't trust your doctor? Right, so next week, guys, I am going to do John Wayne Gacy. My next one will be John Wayne Gacy. Lucy Letby, they're actually talking about putting a big question mark on her, whether she actually did it or not, because they've found evidence proving that she hasn't. So that's a big question mark. That's a big question mark. Here's what the problem is, guys, right? You are on a ward, you're dealing with 15 patients. One gets ill. You're the only one. It's the same when I was working in the care sector. I looked after 15 patients for their medications. You take full responsibility. The problem is you don't work in pairs, you work singly. So it's your word against that person. Sometimes it can be, you can do doubles, obviously. But if you're doing singles, you're at high risk of everything, guys. You're at high risk of being accused of all sorts. And if I put myself in the mind of Shipman, well, then you've got ample opportunity. And that's the sad reality, guys. That is the sad reality of healthcare. So I will discuss John Wayne Gacy. He will be my next one, guys. I do apologise about the live at the start, because he obviously technical issues. And apparently, as Wayne, Steve, and Baldy told me, it's TMU Wi-Fi. There is a lot of scapegoating. There is in the healthcare sector. That knowing, I totally agree with you. I was nearly 20 years doing caring, and there is a lot of scapegoating without a shadow of doubt. There's a lot of things that get covered up. Broken Not Beaten says, I don't live far from Ian Huntley where he committed his crime. Jesus. I will be covering Ian Huntley, but I don't think I'll be doing it too soon because obviously his death was no long ago. So I don't want to kind of push it. Bronx says, and I find when you go through the town, there's a real stubborn mood in there. I think because probably what's happened. And I think a lot of people probably will be a lot more protected, overprotected, their daughters and their sons. I could quite believe that. You just look at, well, I've done Ed Gein, right? So I'll use Ed Gein as an example. So Plainfield is a small town where everybody knows everybody knows everybody's business, and everybody takes care of everybody. If somebody goes missing, they're going to know. They're going to absolutely know. And I think when that came out about Ed Gein, and everybody was flocking from all around the world to actually see Plainfield, people were getting pissed off, royally pissed off, because it's a small town, and all these people from around the world thought it was a tourist attraction. I do believe, as I said to you guys last week, I do believe that the town burned down Ed Gein's farm without a shadow of a doubt to cover, obviously, everything that had been done so that people couldn't come and visit. All they would see was a wreckage. I've still yet to finish the Ed Gein show. Netflix, I've not started. Fred and Rose West, I will cover. Ted Bundy, I did. Actually, is my first show. He was my first show because so far I've done Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ed Gein, and Harold Shipman. So I'm fourth episode in, and that's where I'm up to. And then my fifth one will be John Wayne Gacy. Now, guys, there's so many serial killers and killers out there that I have to talk about. Even ones that you guys may not know, I'm going to cover it as well. So while I'm doing that in the background as well as reading and researching and trying to start my own book, honestly, it's madness. But see, when I'm so passionate about something, true crime and serial killers, you'll see my hands flying everywhere, like honestly. But I will finish here, guys. But tune in on Wednesday when I talk about John Wayne Gacy. Tomorrow night there will be. Thank you very much, honey. I do appreciate that. Tune in though, guys. Tomorrow night, at 6 o'clock, I'm going to host the Mystical Carousel show, and at 8 o'clock, I'm doing the film show, or it's the other way about. You'll see me anyway. You will see me. And definitely, guys, if you're into true crime, let me know who you want to see me doing. I take requests. So if there's someone, guys, that you want me to do for a show, please send me obviously messages. And at 9:30, I hadn't forgotten, at 9:30, go and join Wayne's live. If he reads stories on a Wednesday and a Sunday night, guys, please go and check him out because he's great, he's amazing. I can't even say enough about this guy. But please go and check out Spookanori or Wayne Seaton. That's actually quite a good idea, Aaron. That is an idea. But yeah, guys, definitely check out Wayne when he's doing his reading. Stephen King, The Hearts of Atlantis. The Carousel show will be six. Well, I'm on twice, no reading 6 and 8. So I think I did put the Carousel show at 6. I probably didn't. Probably made that 8. You know me, I'm ditzy. But I will definitely drop you a link, Noreen, because I'm on twice. So you'll be saying that gobshite's on the telly again. I'm going to see who wants to join me. Wayne, are you up for it? Tomorrow at 8? Because I know you probably can't do the 6th one. But yeah, guys, please check out Wayne. Even give him a wee follow. Because that would mean a lot. Definitely, guys. So everybody have a good night. Have a good weekend, and I will see you twice tomorrow, guys. Catch up soon. Bye, everyone.